Keeping up with AI these days, it feels a bit like drinking from a fire hose, doesn't it? New models and breakthroughs and, yeah, even concerns, they seem to pop up every single day.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a fast-moving field for sure. And, that feeling of being kind of overwhelmed, totally normal. Even those of us, who are deep in AI research.
Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Hey, listeners. Mark Wintersmith here. I've asked these two amazing AI podcasters to lay out a simple, actionable AI roadmap based on trends from 2024's State of AI report. So please sit back and enjoy.
Oh, hey, Mark, thanks for chiming in. And absolutely, we're happy to help you with that roadmap.
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it. It's really about taking the trends and making them actionable.
Okay, so for you, Mark, and anyone else listening, this translates to opportunity.
Even the experts are scrambling a little bit. What's a business leader to do? Well, that's what we're going to be tackling in this deep dive today. Forget the hype. We're going for practical steps you can take today, no matter where you are on your AI journey.
Yeah, one thing that really jumps out from all the sources that we've looked at is just how much this AI landscape, is being shaped by industry, not just academia anymore. The 2024 AI Index report, it really highlights this shift.
Meaning less ivory tower and more, real-world applications, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Companies like Google and OpenAI, they're pouring enormous resources into developing these AI models with practical uses.
So for our listener, this translates to opportunity. Because the tools are evolving so fast, with that comes this potential to really transform how businesses operate.
Yeah, and it brings us to a really crucial point. You don't have to wait for some perfect future AI to arrive. The time to start experimenting is now. In fact, the sheer number of new AI models, it kind of speaks for itself.
We're talking 149 new foundation models released just in 2023. That's more than double from the year before. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, it really is. But here's where it gets interesting for businesses, right? A good chunk of these models are open source. Think of it like a recipe. Anyone can use it and adapt it. And this really lowers that barrier to entry. You can start experimenting without a massive, upfront investment.
And it seems like companies are already catching on, right? The explosion of AI-related projects on platforms like GitHub, that really shows just how much experimentation is happening already.
It's a clear signal that businesses are kind of diving in headfirst. And that brings us to a key takeaway for our listeners here. Pilots are crucial. Instead of trying to boil the ocean, pick a specific, achievable goal.
Okay, I like where this is going. So instead of getting bogged down in theory, what are some concrete examples? Like, what are some pilot projects that can deliver some tangible ROI?
Let's start with something that I think a lot of businesses struggle with, right? Content creation. Think about all that time your team spends writing marketing copy, summarizing documents, even just responding to customer emails. Tools like ChatGPT, which are built on these large language models, they're already being used to automate these tasks.
So we're talking about increased efficiency, right?
Yep.
And then, freeing up your talent, your human talent, to focus on more strategic work.
Exactly. But it goes beyond text, too. Image generation is another area where AI is proving super valuable. You've got tools like Stable Diffusion that marketing and design teams are using to create visuals in a fraction of the time it would take traditionally. Imagine generating high-quality images for your website, for social media, even for product prototypes with just a few clicks.
This all sounds amazing, but I can already hear our listener asking, where do I even begin?
That's where a simple roadmap comes in. Let's break it down into 3 manageable steps. Step 1, it's all about identifying opportunities.
So get the team together and just start brainstorming. Right?
Exactly. What are the pain points in your business? Where are you spending time and resources that could be, better utilized elsewhere? Could AI help you automate a process, improve customer service, maybe even gain a competitive edge?
And even seemingly small wins, they can have a pretty big impact on the bottom line, right?
Absolutely. Once you've identified those opportunities, step 2 is about piloting, experimenting.
And this is where choosing the right project is key, right? It needs to be achievable, measurable, and ideally it should demonstrate value quickly.
You're spot on. And to minimize risk and, those upfront costs, I'd recommend starting with open source models or maybe some readily available AI tools.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's that final step in our roadmap?
Step 3 is iterating and scaling. AI integration, it isn't a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing process.
So take what you've learned from that pilot project and apply it elsewhere in the business.
Exactly. Success breeds confidence, right? And as you gain experience, you can start tackling more ambitious AI projects. But Before we move on, let's just summarize that roadmap one more time. It all starts with identifying those opportunities, then piloting and experimenting, and finally iterating and scaling what works.
It sounds straightforward enough, but I imagine there are nuances that businesses need to be aware of.
Yeah, you're right. There are always going to be nuances. But one of the things that's really encouraging about this whole evolution of AI is just how accessible it's becoming. The AI Index report, it actually breaks down that growing number of open source foundation models, which, like we said earlier, they're essentially these building blocks that anyone can use.
Okay, help me understand this a little better.
Hmm.
What exactly is a foundation model in this context?
Think of it as this powerful AI system that's been trained on just a massive amount of data, a massive data set of information. It's like a Swiss Army knife of AI. It can perform all sorts of different tasks. And the beauty of these open source foundation models is that they're freely available for anyone to use. You can modify them, you can build upon them, whatever you need to do.
So instead of starting from scratch, businesses can leverage these pre-trained models and kind of tailor them to their specific needs. That's a huge advantage, especially for, smaller companies that might not have those big budgets, those resources to develop AI from the ground up.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the models themselves. It's about this whole community that's forming around them. You've got platforms like GitHub where developers share code and collaborate on projects. And we've seen just this explosion of AI-related activity on there.
There's like this global think tank for AI where you've got everyone, from individual developers to these large corporations, all contributing to this advancement of the technology.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And for our listener, this means there's just this wealth of knowledge, all these resources available that you can tap into. So don't be afraid to, dive in, explore, connect with others who are experimenting with AI.
It's really exciting to see this level of collaboration and innovation happening. Now, going back to those pilot projects that we were discussing, are there any other examples that come to mind? Maybe something a little outside the box?
Absolutely. One area that I think is really fascinating is the use of AI for scientific visualization. We often think of AI in terms of automating tasks, analyzing data, but it's also changing how we communicate and understand complex information.
So instead of just crunching numbers and spitting out reports, AI is kind of helping us make sense of data in a way that's visually engaging, more intuitive.
Precisely. Imagine using AI to create interactive 3D models of molecules, or to simulate the effects of climate change, maybe even visualize the spread of a disease. This has the potential to completely revolutionize how we conduct research, how we educate students, how we even make those critical decisions in fields like healthcare and climate change.
It's like taking those complex scientific concepts and making them accessible, understandable to a much wider audience.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to science either. Think about using AI to create personalized product demos or interactive training modules, even virtual tours of real estate properties. The possibilities are really, truly endless. Don't be intimidated by all the hype.
Start small, experiment, and focus on building that foundation of knowledge and skills that will allow you to navigate this, rapidly evolving landscape.
And to that end, I think it's worth mentioning that the author of that blog post that really inspired this whole deep dive, Mark Wintersmith, he's actually an AI solutions architect himself.
So clearly, he's really passionate about helping businesses harness the power of AI.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic resource. In fact, reaching out to someone like Mark, someone with deep expertise in this field, could be an excellent first step on your AI journey.
They can help you assess your specific needs, identify those opportunities, and develop that tailored strategy for AI integration.
It's like having this trusted guide to kind of help you navigate this really exciting but often complex world of AI.
And remember, the key takeaway here is to just get started. The sooner you begin exploring and experimenting with AI, the better positioned you'll be to really capitalize on all those incredible opportunities that it offers.
Well said. The future of AI, it's in our hands, and it's up to us to shape it responsibly and strategically.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, Mark, and everyone else. Until next time.